I had a good friend in high school who always wanted to be a nurse, and she convinced me to take an anatomy class with her, and I was hooked. I had a job all lined up for after graduation in Baltimore, and sort of was thinking about the Navy. I knew a girl in my nursing class who was going to join the Navy, and so it just sort of happened. It was 1999, so there wasn't a war going on. It wasn't a particularly scary thing to do at the time. It sort of sounded adventurous and interesting as a way of starting off life as a nurse. So I was at National Naval Medical Center Bethesda in Maryland outside DC, and then we got patients from the USS Cole, and then September 11th happened and everything sort of changed. It did become more about service and camaraderie, and really as a nurse in the Navy you were sort of taking care of people that really were in harm's way. So I was at Launchville Regional Medical Center. It's sort of the first pit stop on the way back to the United States for men and women injured in Iraq and Afghanistan. So a lot of times they would come to us and they still had their uniforms on, they had blood on their boots, they had dirt on their uniforms. So it was their first kind of comfortable place also, and they're the most grateful patients I've ever had. One memorable moment that I have was with this young Army medic. She was about 20 years old, and she'd sustained some serious injuries. They'd been in basically a Humvee IED blast that rolled over. So she had her own injuries. They lost people in their platoon, and we were talking one night, and she was saying, you know, you go to medic school and they teach you, if you don't do this, they're gonna die. If you don't do this, they're gonna die. If you forget to do this, you die. If you do this, and you forget one thing, they die. And she said, I had my hand in his leg and I couldn't find his artery and I couldn't stop the bleeding. And she said, so they have survivor guilt to begin with, and now you have this guilt of she felt like she did something wrong. And I'm sitting there and you try to think, what can I possibly say to this person? And there will never be right answers, but I told her, people always die in war. It's one of the rules, and people aren't dying in war because the Army medics aren't doing their jobs. People die in war because it's horrible. And and I said, if you maintain your career in the Army after this, then you can teach that you can go and teach the medic school and tell them you can do everything right, and somebody can still die. I had the privilege of taking care of this guy during the moment where the Commandant of the Marine Corps came in, 4-star general, to present him his Purple Heart. And this young man, he was 24, he'd lost both of his legs, and this had just happened, and it was very emotional. I felt almost like I was intruding on this moment with him and his parents, but I was in his room to do care, and I sort of got stuck there, and it was really moving. And his mother was crying, and the general was thanking him and thanking his parents, and I looked at him and I said, thank you for all you've given. And he looked at me, he goes, no, thank you for what you do. And it was so humbling. Being named to here is like I told you before, it's really humbling, and I accept the award to share it with everyone I've had the privilege and pleasure of serving with in the 11 years I've been in the Navy.